Okay, so today's opener goes with the notes that we took yesterday on prime factorization. What you're going to do with each of these numbers, you're going to first find the prime factors by doing a factor tree. After you do the factor tree, you're going to write each of your prime numbers in standard form and then in exponential form. Keep in mind, when you use factors for 80, for example, you may use 8 and 10, 2 and 40, 5 and 16. You can use multiple factors to start off with. The end result, the main thing that you need to make sure are all your prime numbers are all the same. So when I factored out 80, I used 8 and 10. So 8 and 10. These are both considered composite numbers because they have more than two factors. So 8, I need to go ahead and factor. Two factors of 8 are going to be 2 and 4. 2 is a prime number because it only has two factors, the number 1 and 2 itself. So I'm going to circle that because it is a prime number. 4, I'm then going to factor. 2 and 2. I know 2 is prime, so I'm going to circle them. I go to my next number, 10. My factors of 10 is going to be 2 and 5. I know that 2 is a prime number, and then 5. 5 is a prime number as well because it only has two factors, 1 and then the number 5 itself. So with my prime factors, I'm going to come to the right of 80, I'm going to put an equal sign, and I'm going to write my prime numbers in standard form. Standard form is in order from least to greatest. So I'm going to write 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. Then I'm going to write my answer in exponential form. So I have 2 to the 4th power because I have 4 2's here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 to the 4th power times 5. You could put 5 to the 1st if you want to, however, it's not necessary and will not count against you either way. Then I'm going to box the entire thing, standard form and exponential form. So when you go to take a quiz over this on Friday, you're going to receive points for showing your factor tree and circling your prime numbers, and then a point for standard form in the correct order, and then exponential form. All right, let's look at 108. 108 has multiple factors as well. I'm going to use 2 and 54 as my two factors. I know that 108 is divisible by 2, or that 2 is a factor of it, because it ends in an even number. So what I did, I took 108 and divided it by 2 and got 54. That tells me that 2 and 54, or 2 times 54, will get me to 108. So then I look at my 2. 2 is a prime number, so I'm going to circle it. 54 is a composite number because it has more than two factors. So 6 times 9 will get me to 54. Then I look at my 6. 6 is a composite, so I'm going to factor that. The factors of 6 are 2 and 3. 2 and 3 are both prime numbers, so I circle them. I then move over to my 9. Two factors of 9 are going to be 3 times 3. I'm going to circle the 3's because they are prime numbers. I then come to my 108. I put my equal sign. I need to write my answer in standard form, which are all my prime numbers in order from least to greatest. So I'm going to write 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. Then exponential form will be 2 to the 2nd power, or 2 squared, times 3 to the 3rd power. Then I'm going to box the entire thing. That is my final answer. Let's take a look at the last one. The last one is a larger number. How I like to factor larger numbers, especially when they end in 0, I look and see how many zeros it has. It ends in 2. So I know then that one of the factors of 4,500 is going to be 100. There are 2 zeros in 100 and 2 zeros in 4,500. So then I use the other factor of 45. Two factors of 100 are going to be 10 and 10. These numbers are composite, so I'm going to continue to factor it. 2 and 5, circle my prime numbers. And I go to my next 10. 2 times 5 will get me to 10, both prime numbers, so I circle them. I then come over to my 45. 45 is a composite number. Two factors of 45 is going to be 5 and 9. 5 is a prime number, so I'll circle it. And then I need to factor 9. 3 times 3 will get me to 9. Those are two prime numbers, so I circle them. I come up to my 4,500, I put my equal sign, and I write my prime factors in order from least to greatest. So I'm going to write 2 times 2. When I have a lot of prime factors, I kind of go through and I mark them out as I go to make sure I get them all. So I only have 2 2's, and then I come back up, times 3, times 3. So I used all my 3's, and then I have times 5, times 5, times 5. I want to make sure that I had it all, which it looks like I did. So my standard form will then be 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 5 times 5 times 5. I now need to write that in exponential form, which will be 2 to the second power times 3 to the second power times 5 to the third power. And that's your final answer.